Joseph Jacob Jonas. You know the Jonas Brothers? I guess we've been the ones saying it wrong this whole time. I have got some very exciting news for me and my family. I will be getting 2 nephews almost within the same time. My sister is 33 weeks pregnant today, and my sister-in-law is 30 weeks pregnant today, so I cannot wait. And we have been talking baby names like crazy. Luckily, they do live in Canada, so it's not going to be too hard for them to pick a name. But when they kept asking me, I feel like I've become so German now that I'm just like, no. That sounds weird in German. So for them, it really doesn't matter. But if you are an international thinking of moving to Germany, you might want to consider how exactly your kid's name might be pronounced here. Now, we've talked about names that work in Germany and names that don't work in Canada. And the fact that in Germany, your name means so much more than perhaps it does in North America. I find that it's a lot harder to pick the perfect name here because some of them might mean that your family is not well off, and some might be a little bit too shicky-micky, and there's just so many rules here that I didn't realize, and I was so naive when picking names. And my German husband was like, seriously, Jenna? No, like none of the names you have on this list of 100 work. So I'm here to give you a little bit of a heads up. Of course, names are just names. Yes, you have to think about, are they going to make a negative impact on your child in the future? I've mentioned before that in Germany, they actually have rules against naming your children a name that might mean they'll be picked on or teased or not get a job that they want in the future. However, we still need to think about, are their names going to be pronounced differently in German? And does it sound strange? Is it going to bother you that somebody is calling your child something different than what you've actually named them? I get on a daily basis people saying, "Hallo Jena, wie geht's dir?" And I'm like, my name's not Jena. And I understand that here in Germany, the J sounds a lot like Y. There's nothing I can do about it. That's just how it is. It's something that I have to get used to, but it's something that I really didn't want for my children, because then they would be called 2 entirely different names. Like for me, Jena and Jenna are very different names. So we're in 2023, and in North America, leading names are actually Olivia and Liam, both of which I find to be very nice. I really like those names. However, they're not as popular here in Germany. I do know a couple Liams here. I don't think I know any Olivias, but if I think about it, both names would probably be pronounced relatively similar. However, I should mention that I actually named my child Max because everybody and their cousin names their kid Max here in Germany. And I thought that he would have no issues in regards to the way that his name is pronounced. It is very slight, but it still drives me crazy when somebody asks, "Oh, his name is Max, not Max?" And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's the same thing. Like, I hear the same thing, but Max and Max, you know, it's like a little bit of a different accent. It doesn't bother me when I hear it. It doesn't bother him when he hears it. But for some reason, people get so confused when I say his name is Max. So I always try to say, okay, no, his name is Max. Ich weiß es nicht. But anyway, as a Canadian mummy living in Germany, I couldn't help but think every time my sister has suggested a name, in my head, I always pronounce it in German and think, that's not gonna fly. So as hard as it is to find a name that sounds nice and is accepted here in Germany, I will link my video up above so you can check it out. But you also need to think about, how do you feel about the way that it sounds? So we're gonna jump into some of the most popular names that you might be considering naming your child when you're living here in Germany. And when we're talking about pronunciation, I want to introduce you to today's sponsor, one of our favorite sponsors on this channel, and that is Lingoda. I'm always talking about their Lingoda sprints, but I should probably also remind you, they are more than that. They are not only one of the top online language schools in the world, but they also offer extremely interactive and flexible courses online in 1-hour classes. You can choose to do one-on-one. You can do group classes with a maximum of 5 students per class, and you can learn 4 different languages. They've got English, Spanish, Business English, French, and German. And of course, they focus on all aspects. For example, I'm really bad at grammar, so I always choose just to take the grammar classes. Because their native speaking teachers are also located all around the world, you can take your classes 24/7 whenever you would like to. What's super exciting is that for you, you don't have to just take my word for it. They actually offer a free 7-day trial. And within that 7-day trial, you can choose either to take 3 free group classes. Again, they're 60 minutes on Zoom, or you can do one-on-one class. And if you decide to move forward, well, they've also given me a 30% discount code if you would like to continue on your courses moving forward, and they offer different plans. The social learner plan allows you to pay about €9.50 for a 1-hour class, and you can choose to do between 4, 12, 20, or 40 classes a month. For individual learners, you do these one-on-one with your favorite teacher. Private classes run at about €20 an hour, and both of these plans can be changed or canceled at any point in time. So I will leave the link down below here for you guys if you do want to grab that 30% discount, or simply just go and check out what they have to offer. You can learn a lot of pronunciation there, but I'm going to teach you about name pronunciation here right now. Let's get into it. So like I said, my name is Jena here in Germany. And although I don't like it, my husband doesn't like it probably just as much as when people call him Paul Hendrik in Canada. His name is Paul Henrik, but because us North Americans can apparently not say Henrik, they just revert to saying Hendrik. So let's take a look at some of the more popular common names around the world where they are pronounced extremely different here in Germany. My absolute favorite girl's name is Charlotte. Actually, I don't like the way it sounds in English. I don't love the name Charlotte. I love the name Charlotte. I think it's just very sweet, but as you can tell, they are two very entirely different names for me. You've also got names like Clara, pronounced in Germany Clara, Laura, which is very popular around the world. Here we say Laura. Andrea, I actually, again, love the way that it's pronounced here in Germany. That is Andrea. And then you've also got all of the J names. So like if you want to name your kid Jessica, you'll be Jessica. Julia is Julia, and Julia is actually a very common name here in Germany. It just would drive me bonkers if my name was Julia in North America and people were calling me Julia. Or Joseph, or Jakob, or Jonas. You've got Joseph, Jacob, Jonas. You know the Jonas brothers? I guess we've been the ones saying it wrong this whole time. Benjamin, Benjamin. Theo, Theo. Louis, Louis. Michael, Michael. George, Georg. I love the name George. I despise the name Georg. I'm sorry. David, David. Wilhelm, Wilhelm. Okay, that one's not that popular nowadays. Just an example, you get it. So if you're looking for a relatively international name that also works here in Germany, that doesn't sound super different than the ones that I just mentioned, I would go with names like Emma, Sophia, Emilia, Hannah, often here in Germany, that's without the H at the end, Lena, Noah, Luca, Tony, or Tom. Those are really like basic names that cannot be changed. Maybe in a different language, not here in Germany. Those are pretty safe bets. But I wish you luck, my friends, if you are naming your children here in Germany as an international. It took me absolutely forever. We picked our boy's name. It wasn't even in my top 20 list. It just worked. And I picked my girl's name, Mila, because I just loved Mila Kunis in that 70s show. I've loved this name since I was 15 years old. And when we first had my son, my husband said, if it's a girl, we are not naming her Mila because that is not a popular name here. Nobody's gonna know how to pronounce it. And funny enough, 2022 came around and it was in the top 10 list for girls. So even though we didn't want a top 10 name, I was able to prove to him that Mila wasn't so uncommon here in Germany after all. So now, we have our beautiful kids, Max and Mila, and hopefully you can pronounce them the same in both languages. My mom thought her name was Mila when I first named her, so maybe I did something wrong, but there you have it. I hope this gets you thinking, but I hope that this doesn't scare you away from whatever name you love and you wanted to name your child. At the end of the day, again, it's your kid, it's your favorite name, go with it. Just know that it might be pronounced a little bit different here in Germany, and definitely go check out my other video where I mention names that don't sound that nice in the German language and that might be perceived a little bit differently. What other names would you guys add to those lists? I would love to know. Let me know in the comment section below. Und wie immer, vielen, vielen lieben Dank und bis später.